no one, no one wants to have a drone sitting over their property filming what they do, you know, for any number of reasons. And almost every state has laws on privacy, including for drones. I can't say that I've seen one where it allows self-help. Florida's now the bill to me the part that stands out is the fact that uh, now you can use self-help and it says reasonable force, which isn't defined in the bill. But Floridians have to be very careful because there's still a federal law that says you cannot, drones are considered aircraft, manned or unmanned. You cannot mess with aircraft. And there's good reason for that because when you mess with aircraft, they fall, even if they're unmanned. And that creates all kinds of dangers to people on the ground, to persons, to property, and everything else. So just because the state legislature provides for being able to use reasonable force, and we'll get into that in a minute, does not mean that uh, that you won't be violating federal law if you do that. I believe you will. Um, what's interesting to me is that it's passing the various committees in the Florida Senate 8-0, 9-0. Um, and I think part of it has to do with number one, these legislators know that you can't mess with these aircraft, but they want the other provisions in the bill. Sometimes you have to vote for a bill, even though it contains a provision that you're not in favor of. And it does set forth more privacy grounds, and it does, start prohibiting the government from using these drones to surveil you just for any or no reason. It starts to prohibit it. Uh, it sets forth exceptions like it should, but I think what's drawing the legislators to it are all the other provisions in the bill. I would be very happy with the bill if it did not include the reasonable force part. You have to be careful as a Floridian if you're going to use force with one of these things. Um, Number one, it talks about reasonable, reasonable, reasonable. Uh, the obvious concern is not that somebody uses a laser to take one down, which creates concerns because they fall, or that you use some sort of electromagnetic thing to interfere with its signal and all that. The concern, once again, they fall. Those aren't, maybe somebody with a BB gun or a slingshot. Those aren't the discharge or the use of the device is not as dangerous as to the consequences, which is with it falling. Florida has strict gun laws as far as discharging a weapon in a residential area, over residential neighborhoods, over right of ways. 790.15 provides, you know, penalties for discharging a firearm in public or on residential property. Um, that to me, that is the biggest concern here. Does someone interpret that to mean that you can discharge your firearm to take one of these down? The concern that I have in 790.15, which is the statute that talks about discharging a firearm, is that it does provide exceptions for defending life or property. Are you defending property when you are taking down a drone? I think you're defending your right to privacy. I don't necessarily think that you're defending property. It would be an argument to somebody charged with that crime that they're defending their property and the way the statute's written. It's an argument. I don't think it would prevail, but it's very concerning. Uh, Giving people rights to discharge firearms in open spaces, in public, is really, really concerning. Um, and I don't know how, my fellow Floridians are going to react to something like this. I find it hard to believe that this will pass in the end, but it may. The invasion of privacy, nuisance, probably trespass as well. It would be interesting as to whether the state courts consider that a trespass. I can tell you that they would consider it an invasion of right to privacy, a nuisance. Uh, Probably some of the stalking statutes might come into play. Um, and you're just violating a statute. There's a statute right on point. What is it? 934.50, right? 930. I'm almost certain it's 934.50 that you're violating when you do that. And if you're violating a state statute, you can usually yeah, it's 934.50. When you violate a state statute, um, it usually provides you with a cause of action. At a minimum, an injunction. You may or may not be able to recover damages, but at least you can get an injunction prohibiting the person from doing that. And then if they violate the injunction, the court can issue an order to show cause and hold them in criminal contempt. So, and you're also violating a statute where the state attorney's office can prosecute you for it. So there are laws on the books already. This is just an addition to it. I would expand that a little bit just to look, because you can use a drone to look live, right? So I would include it to say with an agent advice to view or record an image of private property with the intent to conduct surveillance in violation of the person's reasonable expectation of privacy. If I'm at a park and I'm playing, baseball with my kids and somebody takes up a drone just to show what's going on in the park, do I really have an expectation of privacy? That's, but if my daughters are sunbathing in the pool behind my house, I have an expectation of privacy.